What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and another predictable result. I mean, that's how it's been against teams like Fulham this season. We easily get the win. It's comfortable, but it's still not good enough overall. And a lot of the problems that I've had all season that showed against Tottenham don't show today because Fulham's just not good enough as a team to exploit the problems that we have. I mean, we gave them chances. We gave them a ton of chances, but they don't have the quality to finish. I mean, you look at the shots that Kepa had to save today, they were all right at him. Whereas you look at the Tottenham shots, and none of them were at him. And so he can't move. So if you put it away from him, you're probably going to get the goal. But Fulham's not good enough to do that. So they don't get the goals that they need. We managed to get 2 goals, one from brilliant play from Conte and Pedro, and the other one, it was good work from Hazard. It did take a little bit of a lucky bounce, but good work for him to follow it up and then brilliantly lays it off to Ruben, who puts it away. So we get our goals, and then Fulham aren't good enough to capitalize on the mistakes that we make defensively, and we get the win. And that's kind of been the story of our season so far. When we win games, we give the other team plenty of chances to come back into it to get the win or to get the draw, and they just can't capitalize on it. And the only times that we don't win typically are whenever the other team is just packed it in, aren't even going for a goal, and we've got Murata on the field so he can't do anything. Or, like we saw last week and against Liverpool, whenever we give up goals because the opposition is good enough to finish the chances that we give them. So, yeah, it's been a very predictable season so far. We win most of the games we should, and we haven't won the games that we shouldn't because we haven't been good enough. So let's talk about, once again, sorry. Because once again, I mean, I'm glad he started Giroud, which is good because he needed to. I'm glad that he let Pedro get the start today. So those two were good decisions, but then you look at the subs, say it with me, they're like-for-like subs again. And in a game where we needed to make more changes. So what are the changes he makes? Oh, well, I know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek on for Kovacic. So, because Barkley's not available, that's the only reason why it was Loftus-Cheek today. And then Murata on for Giroud. Let's see, and then Zappacosta on for Alonso. Oh, so all like-for-like subs. It's interesting. It's like it's happened every single game this season. Except for one, which was last week whenever he took off a striker and put on a wing, which makes no sense at all because we were down 3 goals. I don't know how many times I've got to say it, but that doesn't help us. Like-for-like substitutions do not help us. It doesn't change the game. The most it does is just it brings on fresh legs. And except for Loftus-Cheek, none of the fresh... Well, okay, Zappacosta helped because Alonso was crap today, and honestly has been most of the season. But you look at the other subs that normally come on. If Pedro comes on for Willian, okay, it's a little bit better. Willian hasn't been having a great season. Pedro is doing pretty well right now, so that's okay. Murata on for Giroud, that doesn't help us. If it's Giroud on for Murata, then yeah, that's fine, because Murata's not good enough and Giroud is. So, aside from those subs, when you make a like-for-like substitution, Barkley on for Kovacic doesn't do anything. If you bring on, I'm trying to think of another one he normally does. Those are really the only ones he ever does. Unless there's an injury, which we haven't had a lot of this season, those are always the same subs every single game. And it's the same players. It's just same over and over and over again. And it doesn't lead to any excitement. It doesn't lead to anything that makes me want to go, yes, I want to watch this team every week. Like, I don't get excited for these games anymore because I know what to expect. I know a team is either going to pack it in and try to shut us out the whole game, and we may get lucky and get a late goal or something, or we're going to score because we've got good attack, and Sarri has made us better in the attack, and then the other team's going to come back at us, and we're going to give up chances. And then ultimately, when we get to the second half, there's not going to be a change of style. There's not going to be a change of tactics. There's not going to be a change of formation to suit whatever we need. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over and over again. And that's just boring. And that is, I think, the biggest criticism I've had of Sarri so far this season is he's made us very boring to watch. Whereas you flip over and watch Man City or Liverpool, who knows what they're going to get every week. They've got different players to change up the game. They've got different styles that they can go with. They can either that normally they like to press high, but there's sometimes whenever they would prefer just to possess. Back off a little bit, let the other team, and then win it, and then just keep the ball. And on top of that, the players that they bring on can change the game. It can suit whatever they need. We've just done the same thing every single game, and teams have started to figure us out. I mean, even today against Fulham, 2-0 is, it's a pretty flattering result for them. The quality that we have and the lack of quality that Fulham has, realistically, especially because they were missing Charlotte today, realistically, we should be beating them 3 or 4-0. And comfortably, too, not scoring our second one late in the game and giving them a bunch of chances to equalize throughout the game. So, yeah, I don't know what else I can say that I haven't already said. I feel like I'm already repeating myself in a lot of these videos because it's the same stuff, and Sarri's not changing anything. But on that, let's move on and talk about individuals. Kepa, like I said, didn't really have a whole lot to do today. All the shots that were taken were right at him. So basically, he just had to be ready to make the save. Which, to be fair, he has given up a couple that were right at him this season, so I guess it's an improvement. In the back, same exact opinions that I've had all season. Azpilicueta and Rudiger, very solid, very strong defensively. Azpilicueta didn't get up in the attack as much today because Alonso was pretty much always in the attack, so he was always staying back, which meant there were a couple times when we're looking to switch the field, and Alonso's all the way up, and Azpilicueta is like, I can't get up. I've got to stay back and defend because Alonso's up the field, and so we don't have any width on the far side because Pedro is more of a cut-inside type of player. So that is the one biggest problem that we had today with Pedro on that side, is that we didn't have any width because Azpilicueta was just not available because he had to stay back and defend, which is one thing I'm going to say as far as Zappacosta is concerned. I think Zappacosta and Azpilicueta probably would be a good choice for fullbacks. Because one, you've got Azpilicueta on David Luiz's side, which means David Luiz is not as much of an issue. And two, Zappacosta is good at getting up in the attack as well, but he's better on the ball than Alonso is. So, whenever we need that width, because Hazard's going to get wide, we know that. He's good at getting wide. Pedro's not. So if you got Pedro and Hazard up top, and you got Hazard on the left, Pedro on the right, Pedro's going to cut in, draw players with him. Hazard's going to be out wide left. Zappacosta can be that wide player on the right that provides the width over there. I think that's a good, solid lineup, and I'm surprised he hasn't looked at that sooner this season because we know Azpilicueta can play the left-back role. So, yeah, it's something to look at going forward. But, yeah, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, both good. David Luiz, never know what to expect from him. Sometimes it's a good challenge. Sometimes it's a stupid challenge. Sometimes on the ball it's a fantastic ball over the top. Sometimes it's a giveaway right to a player. And then Alonso, is there a rating lower than a 0 out of 10? Because I would like to give that to him today. He's already been really poor this season. I've talked about him in the past. I've talked about how he just hasn't been helping us. He gets up in the attack, he's not good in the attack, and then defensively he gets caught out time and 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 time again. But there's no but there. No, there's nothing that goes for him. He's not scoring goals, he's not assisting. The balls that he's putting in are terrible. It's funny, the announcers are talking about, everybody's making the wrong run to the near post. No, there are 3 players going into the middle of the box. He put it on the far side of the box. And like I said, Azpilicueta's not getting up today because he has to stay back and help cover. So nobody's over there. So why do you keep putting it over there every time? Every single ball is far side of the box. Far side of the box. Far side of the box. Nobody's there. Giroud's the only one in the box. He's making a near post run. Where's the ball go? Far side of the box. So he's not helping us in the attack. Obviously not helping us in defense. I think one of the best chances that they had, he's up against Kamara. Kamara bodies him off the ball just like he's a little kid. Just shoves him out of bounds because he's weak. Takes the ball, comes in. Kovacic now has to cover for him. Which means what? Now we don't have a midfielder top of the box because Kovacic had to come back and help. Where's Alonso? Still walking. Still talking to the AR because he feels like, hey, I was fouled. Why don't you give me the foul? Get back and defend, you dumbass. So yeah, Alonso, in my opinion, after today, I almost feel like the fact that Sarri subbed him out is kind of a sign of, okay, he sees the problem there too. I hope. I hope it's not just, oh no, it was just an injury, so we need to pull him off. Because today's game was probably the worst I think I've ever seen from him. On the ball, he gave the ball away several times, whether it was a terrible cross or whether it was a bad touch that led to they beat him off the ball. He gave it away so many times, and defensively, he didn't do a thing. So I think this might have been the final straw, the nail in the coffin that gets him off the field. And I mean, Emerson hasn't really shown a whole lot this season either. I haven't been able to watch the Europa League games because they're not on TV or available to easily stream anywhere. So I don't know how he's been doing in the Europa League games. But, I mean, if he's not good enough, then Espilicueta on the left and Zappacosta on the right is not a bad option. Because Zappacosta's not been playing poor this season. I have seen him play a little bit, and he's not really been doing anything wrong. Defensively, he does okay. On the ball, he's pretty clever, so I don't know, give him a shot, see what happens. And especially because he's got Rudiger on that side with him, we don't have to worry about him defensively. So I think that's a great switch to make. So we'll see if he keeps that or if it was just for this one game for whatever reason. But anyway, into the midfield, Jorginho, once again, just not enough. I'm going to keep saying it. Conte needs to be there. Now, with that being said, I think today, especially the first goal, shows why Sarri wants to move Conte up. But here's the thing. You look at the chances that they had, especially the ones that are coming from the top of the box, where Jorginho got beat or Jorginho was dropped way too deep and wasn't pressing. That's why Conte needs to be there. I get, okay, so the first goal, exactly why Sarri wants him further up the pitch, because he can do that in certain games, like today. If it's Fulham or if it's another team like Bournemouth, Burnley, West Ham, Newcastle, one of those teams where we can afford to push him a little bit further up and we can afford to have him pressure further up the field. Okay, I understand that. But whenever we're defending, whenever they're coming at us, he needs to be dropped deep because we need him to be defending for us, not trying to attack. And it's been one of the things that's given up some of the best chances against us this season is whenever Jorginho is out of position or he's too deep or he's just not aware of what's around him. How many times again today did he just get beat top of the box and let them run across? And is Conte going to let that happen? No. Even if he does get beat at first, he's going to be right back at him again and not letting him have the shot. But Jorginho's is not good enough defensively. And even on the ball, that's the thing. If he were good on the ball, if he were just creating so much for us on the ball, I would actually be okay with it. I'd be like, okay, look, I get that defensively he's not good enough, but at least look at him on the ball. He's creating chances. He's distributing. He's moving the ball around quickly. He's not even doing that anymore. He started doing that, which is why everybody was praising him at the beginning of the season. Now, I don't see him do that anymore. I don't see him do anything on the ball that's worthy of keeping him there. I've seen more from Fabregas. I just don't understand. I get that, okay, he knows the Sarri system. He knows how Sarri wants to play. Okay, but who cares? I don't care if he knows how Sarri wants to play. He's not good enough to be there. So that's still a problem. And once again, in my opinion, when we are that late in the game, whenever we are holding on to a one-goal advantage, the sub should not be Kovacic off and another player like him on. It should be Jorginho comes off, Conte drops in, and then Barkley or Loftus-Cheek, whoever it is, can go to the other side. Because that's what we need. Especially because Kovacic is doing both sides of it very well. And it's, in my opinion, watching the halftime talk on NBCSN, listening to the two Robbies talk about how Kovacic needs to do more, with a player of his talent you expect goals and assists. Are you not watching him play? On both sides of the ball, he is so effective. He's effective at opening up the space. He's very clever, which means he can get away from a challenge. His ball retention is very good. And defensively, he works his butt off. I do not understand what they're talking about. I want to see more from Kovacic. He already puts 100% on the field. And I think that's probably the only reason why he gets subbed off every game is because he works so hard, he wears himself out. But once again, he's the sub that always comes off, even though he's working hard, even though he's giving it everything. Let's take him off the field and leave Jorginho, who's not doing enough for us, on the field, because that makes sense. So yeah, Kovacic, once again, I mean, he's really impressing me. I know he's not scoring a whole lot. I know he's not assisting that much, but I tell you what, the work that he puts on the field is incredible. I think the best example is when Giroud tried to lift it to him. It deflects off the defender's head and goes to the other side of the field, and Kovacic still gets there first and beats the defender to it and then creates a chance that Giroud nearly pokes in. It's a perfect example of why we need him on the field, why we need him at Chelsea. And then Conte, still not in his favorite position, but still works hard every game. And that's pretty much all. That's pretty much what I expect from him. I feel like every single game I'm going to say that. I'm going to say he's not in his favorite position. There are moments when you can tell, but he still gives it everything. He still tries to work both sides of it. He still tries to put in as much effort attacking and defending that he can. And it's just, if he were in his favorite position, it would probably be every single game he's our best player. Every single game he's dominating the possession. Every single game the other team has no chance because Conte's stopping every chance. But you don't put him there, and well, he's not going to be as effective. And then you look at the front three. Pedro, probably our best player today. Very, very good, very effective on the ball, very quick, very clever. It's really been a pretty good season for him, and Willian hasn't been having the best season, so I'm surprised it's taken this long for Sarri to play Pedro over Willian. But today, showed why we need him on the field. He's very, very clever. The only thing, like I said, is he likes to cut inside, and so that doesn't provide width. But, as I said, you put Zappacosta out there, maybe that negates that. But yeah, I thought he was really controlling a lot of the attacking play. And then Hazard, very good as well. Not as effective as Pedro, just because it felt like he was slowing the play down a little too much, which, we know he does. But today, especially because Fulham was tending to just put a ton of numbers behind the ball, we needed a little bit quicker play at times. We needed him to be a bit more, not necessarily decisive, more just quickly deciding. Because he's very decisive. Whenever he makes up his mind what he wants to do, he's going to do it. But I feel like today we needed him to make those decisions quicker. We needed to be like, all right, if you're going to attack, do it now. Don't wait, because then they're going to have 3 more players behind the ball. So I just thought a little bit quicker today from him. And then Giroud, not as effective today as he has been in the past. I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Fulham were just stacking guys on him. He had 2 or 3 players on him at all time. There's still moments when he drops back in and helps out. And, in my opinion, he was still more effective than Murata was today. But, it just wasn't the game for him because they really did a good job of making sure we couldn't get the ball in toward him. Because generally there were 2 defenders near him and then there was a midfielder in front of him. So there was never really an option to play his way. So they did a good job of keeping him out of the game, which I think did nullify a lot of our attack. The problem is whenever that happens, it opens up space for players. Well, Hazard has obviously got a guy or 2 on him because they need to mark him. Pedro is the other attacker, which means they have multiple guys on him. Who's open? It's Alonso. There's your problem. So that was the biggest problem we had today, was that the spaces that were being blocked opened up spaces for Alonso, and he's not good enough. So anyway, on to the subs that came on. Loftus-Cheek came on, and I thought played well. He's really making a case for himself to play more games and to even get a few starts in the Premier League, because I think he's a very effective player. He's very dangerous on the ball. He's very aggressive in his play too, which puts defenses off. When you've got a player running at you with that kind of speed and strength, it's hard to defend against. And a lot of times, some of his dribbles end up just becoming bowling through defenders because he's capable of doing it. And it was a nice finish too as well, so very good there. Murata, Cone comes to mind. Donkey comes to mind. Baby also comes to mind. The fact that the biggest contribution to the match he had, aside from the missed shot from like 3 yards out, was the yellow card. Yeah, good job. You're angry because they called a foul on you, so I'm gonna kick the ball away with my pacifier. I can't stand Murata right now. Like, I really, really can't. Not only is he just not good enough for us as a striker, but he's just a baby. I cannot stand him. Where Costa was aggressive and he was ruffling the feathers of the other people, and yet at times he got a little too much. Whether he was flopping or whether he was like smacking people, whatever. At least he was a good striker. He was very effective. Murata is not, and he flops, and he cries, and he kicks the ball away, and he does stupid stuff. There's no positive to him. There's nothing that he does that makes me think, yeah, I want him on the field. But our transfer team did us a disservice this year and didn't give us anybody that we could use instead of him. So we have to use him. Because it's either him or Giroud, and Giroud can't go full 90 every single game. He doesn't have that type of stamina. So we have to play him. And this is what we get. So, and then the last sub, like I said, Zappacosta comes on for Alonso. Was it because Alonso was having a bad game? Was it because he sees the benefit of having Zappacosta on over Alonso? Was it because Alonso had an injury? I don't know. Based on what I've seen so far this season, though, I don't expect this to be a permanent switch. I don't expect the next game to be, oh yeah, Zappacosta's in, and so is Piliqueta. Oh, that's good. No, I expect it to go exactly right back to what we've seen all season, that same back four. Because for whatever reason, Sarri just can't find it in his heart to change anything. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, it's an easy win for us. It wasn't exactly comfortable, but it ended up being an easy win. But it's more down to the strength of the opposition than it was anything we did. It feels like every game, it's either we face good opposition and we get put up against it, or we face poor opposition and we take our chances and they don't take their chances, and that's pretty much been the story of our season. So I know people still disagree with me. I know people are still probably saying, "Oh no, you gotta trust Sarri. Oh no, Sarri's doing a good job. We have only lost one game this season." Look, the problems are there. It's just a matter of our team's going to exploit it or not. Our team's going to be good enough to exploit it. And so far, aside from the top teams, the other teams haven't been good enough to exploit the chances that we've gifted them. That's eventually going to come back to haunt us. It's already done it several times this season. So, anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on today's game? Let me know what you can talk about and discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.